All right, Mr. Bad Guy, you about ready to do this? Suck it. That's the spirit. This is the way we load our mags, load our mags, load our mags. This is the way we load our mags. So early in the morning. It's actually afternoon. Well, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nobody. Thanks for coming along. And today we're actually going to try to finish the JHP Mega Test. So if you watched the Mega Test before, you know that I got interrupted by the guide rod that I got from Atlas, and I have an update on that, what was going on and what the fix was. And I also got interrupted by a bunch of sheep that just hung out downrange of me. Okay, so let's talk about the first thing that caused the stoppage of the Mega Test. And that was the Atlas Gunworks guide rod that I had in this 4 1/4 Prodigy. Now, what was going on is that when I was shooting some plus P loads, it was prematurely locking back because of the recoil. And talking to Corey at Atlas Gunworks, he explained that they had discovered that earlier production runs of this guide rod, they had an underpowered spring inside of the guide rod. And on hotter loads, it was causing it to lock back. So they figured it out, they rectified it. So if you're buying recently these Atlas guide rods, they have the more powerful spring in it. And Atlas has sent me the more powerful spring, and it has now been replaced. And we're going to see if that actually fixes the issue. But before we get into that, let me show you where we left off from the original part of the Mega Test. We successfully went through these 3 brands, the Handgun Hunter, the American Gunner, and the Sierra 124s. Where we got caught up was on this Winchester Defender. So that's actually where we're going to start off today and hopefully get through this. Now, what do we have left? We have all these in the 124s, these 2 in the 135 range, and these 2 in the 147s. Now, just for a little bit of extra, because I wasn't able to test this originally with 147 grain FMJs, so I did find some American Eagle 147s. And I also found some 150s. I just thought I would give these a shot as well while we're out here testing, because that's the whole point of testing the oh crap gun, is to see what will run in it and won't after all the upgrades and fixes that I've had to do to the 4 1/4. So hopefully it runs through everything, and if it does, I will be a happy camper and go buy a Powerball ticket. I just need to make sure that it's gonna work, so I'm gonna run some PMC Bronze 115 grain through and just make sure that we're golden. I think we're ready. Moment of truth. Winchester Defender. What I am seeing is the round is actually nose down towards the bottom of the feed ramp. If I strip the mag out, not the guide rod, okay. Guide rod. All right, so these Winchester Defenders may not like toolless guide rods. Not at all. Okay, so that is something to note with the Winchester Defender if you go with the toolless guide rod. And yeah, you may have some performance issues with the guide rod locking back. Good to know on a self-defense gun. Okay, let's talk about something really quick with how I have this 4 1/4 Prodigy set up. I'm running a 19-pound mainspring and a 12.5-pound recoil spring. So running those Winchester Defender Plus Ps, you know, it's like that may not be the setup and is still causing the issue with the premature lockback of the slide. So let's not read too much into it. It could just be what I've done to the Prodigy. So just know that. All right, American Gunner, 124 grain Plus P by Hornady. Okay, having the same issue. Again, it's a Plus P round. Yeah. Should I switch to the 1-piece or the 2-piece guide rod? If I'm going to run a Plus P round in this O-crap gun, I think the way to go is to go with the 1-piece with the tool, or the 2-piece, which I hate. Silly me, I remembered I brought a 14-pound recoil spring already trimmed and ready to go for this gun. We're going to go ahead and try this Plus P bonded by Remington and see what it does. So I'm wondering if it is the recoil spring is just too light for the Plus Ps. Look at that, a full mag, well, 20 rounds, but no issues. Let's try the rest of the test with the 14s. Federal Hydroshock 124s. Hornady Custom 124 grain XTP. Okay, we're stepping up into the 135 grain class. We are now going to be working with the Federal Hydroshock Deeps. And I liked these when I did the first initial batch of testing because it looks like a little British crown, and I called it the British Crown of Death. So just thought I was pleasantly amused. It's okay. I like how those feel. Hornady Critical Duty 135s. Very soft recoiling. Now, if you've been saying, hey nobody, I don't know if that 14-pound recoil spring actually fixed what you thought it fixed. Well, I bring you this offering. The Winchester Defender 147 grain. Yeah, it's not the same as the 124s. Let's see what the 147 will do. Did it fix it? Nope. Definitely I would not go toolless with these Plus Ps. That's so weird. Because I was a Boy Scout once upon a time for like 5 minutes, I wasn't a very good Boy Scout. Actually, I was a Cub Scout. So I still had the 147 Defenders, what is left. And what I did was I grabbed my 2-piece guide rod, the factory one, and swapped it out because I want to make sure that whatever has been done to the gun is still functioning and just eliminate a specific component. So if the one-piece guide rod that I have from Atlas is the issue with the plus piece, specifically the defenders, it seems like, then I want to make sure that the rest of the gun will function perfectly. So let's give her a shot. It worked. Kind of hard to argue with that result. Even though I hate the two-piece guide rod, if I'm going to run a defender, right now I can't do the Atlas, which pains me because I like the functionality of the Tooless. Federal 147 grain Hydroshocks. Oh, I should say that I swapped back out to the Atlas guide rod just because I want to see what it does. Just full disclosure. All right, so now we're getting into the Federal 147 grains. Full metal jacket. Has a flat nose on it. Good. All right, so this is the first time I'm coming across this one. It's a Federal 150 grain synthetic jacket. Very interesting. It kind of looks like a ladyfinger, or at least like fingernails. Very pretty. All right, so conclusions. This was a test or a series of tests, to show that the work that I did on the 4 1/4 Prodigy, making it my crap gun, everything that I had to fix that you saw me dealing with in earlier videos and upgrades that I have done in earlier videos were worth it or not. Now, I would say that this has been a pretty successful test because everything that I've done has actually improved the pistol. And this is also turning into what I would say is a review of the Atlas guide rod and possibly some of its, I wouldn't say limitations, well, kind of limitations, but some things that you need to be aware of if you are going to use it. And, which is something that I had never thought of before. So specifically, if you're using really hot rounds, which the Winchester Defenders definitely seem to be, then you may not want to use a toolless guide rod because the one-piece guide rods aren't going to lock back under a recoil. So, know your equipment, test your equipment, and keep learning. Is that a good one to end on? What do you think? You never say anything.